Most of the folks here know that I am not a fan of George Bush. But I've had a few moments where I've actually liked the guy. Just a few. One of those was in March of 2007. He stood up and was speaking, and he started this way. A year ago, my approval rating was in the 30s. My nominee for the Supreme Court had just withdrawn. And my vice president had just shot someone. Those were the good old days. More recently, in Japan, he said that the Prime Minister of Japan and he had something in common, that they both had English as a second language. For those few moments, I actually liked George Bush. He had made himself vulnerable. He was making fun of himself. He connected with his audience. My speech today is about the quickest way to an audience's heart, and that's my suggestion. Self-effacing humor. Roger Bates, who gives advice to comedians and public speakers about effectiveness, says, become a master of self-deprecating humor. It is easy. You have volumes of material right there that you can choose from. It is safe. Unlike most humor, it is very safe. You will not offend anyone in the audience, and it is effective to make a connection with the audience in a very unique way. In the movie An Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore starts out the movie, the lights fade, and then the light shines just on him. And he introduces himself to this group of college students saying, hi, my name is Al Gore, and I used to be the next president of the United States. By poking fun at probably the most sensitive, worst moment of his life, he connects with the audience. He has these students in the palm of his hand for just a moment. He's even cool for that moment. In a long trial that I experienced many years ago, one of the defense lawyers had an edge to her. And all the way through the case, she had sort of a sharp edge, kind of an angry edge. She went up to give her closing argument, and she was standing before a podium like this one. She put her papers on the second shelf here safely. And then, as she was wrapping up what I thought was a very effective argument, she had a glass of water next to the papers. She reached down to get her final exhibits. She tipped the water over and drenched her papers. Instead of using that moment, she stood up. She said, that's all, thank you, and she, very red-faced, walked away. I thought she missed a great opportunity to humanize herself, to make fun of herself, to say, look what I did. She would have cemented a relationship with the jury in a way that she hadn't the whole case. I was actually glad that she did that. She was on the other side. Now for me, self-effacing humor is so easy. I have volumes of material to choose from. For example, my speech last week. I actually asked to speak last week without even realizing that I was supposed to speak this week. This is sort of classic for me. As you know, you may have heard this. I actually did drive out of a garage with the garage door closed. I did that in law school. Those were some of my sharper moments. I have taken the bus home many occasions when I drove the car to work, which isn't so bad these days now that we're a two-car family. But when we were a one-car family, this was a very unpopular habit. And now with my recent brain surgery, just think the volumes of material I have to choose from. So my suggestion to you, now L. Ron Hubbard is not my favorite author, but he makes this suggestion, which I agree with. The more seriously you take the game, the less chance you have of winning. I would make that suggestion to you for yourself and for me. many of you know that the last time I spoke, it was a disaster. I literally had to be carried off from the podium. And at this moment in time, I have great fear about the next time that I'm going to stand up in front of a great big group and speak. And I think this fear is normal. I'm going to take 2 words of advice with me to the podium next time that I think are great words of advice. Lighten up. Mr. Toastmaster.